It is the Sports Fix here on Flow FM, and it's time to have a look at what's happening in the NBA. We're at the conference championship stage, or the conference finals, and Jeremy Wohlfart is on the line. He's been following it closely, I'm sure. Jeremy, how are you?
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Let's have a look at these, East and West, in their conference finals. First of all, let's look over to the Warriors taking on the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks kept this series alive with a win in Game 4. It looked as though it could have been a sweep, but all kinds of stuff happened in Game 4. We had a rain delay. We don't see them very often in NBA, do we?
No, more of a cricket sort of thing. But, even stadiums get leaky roofs sometimes. What can you say, really?
Apparently it's the second time it's happened in this stadium this season, so they better spend a bit of money on some cellies, no more gaps or something.
Just send someone up there in a harness just to plug the gaps or something. That was not exactly how people expected Game 4 to begin. Quite entertaining, to say the least, and probably a welcome bit of entertainment given how boring the conference finals have been so far. But something for everyone to laugh about. But hopefully the roof stay dry for the rest of the playoffs. Well,
let's hope. Luka Doncic can get hot. But look, it's been all the Warriors in this series so far. No team in the history of the NBA has ever come back from 3-love down. I think only 3 in the history of it have taken it to Game 7. But no one's ever actually gone on and won it. Maybe the Mavericks will be the first. You have to be in it to win it, and at the moment they're still in it, but you wouldn't be putting the house on it, that's for sure.
No, but we saw what Dallas did to get past the Suns. We saw the sort of thing they were able to achieve. They got a lot of production out of guys like Jalen Brunson, and if they can just get past this Game 5, if they can just get out of there with that win, suddenly it gets a bit interesting. They play Game 6 at home, and if they force that Game 6, they win at home. Suddenly you get to Game 7, all the pressure's going to be on the Warriors. So, whether they can get to Game 7 is another matter, but they'll have to put everything into Game 5. They just were not there in Game 1, and they had a better Game 2, but they weren't able to really get that going in the second half. So big game coming up. They get to Game 5. They go back to Dallas for Game 6, and they can win that. That's when it'll start getting interesting.
Yeah, a couple of points. I mean, Game 4 really was all about. I don't think it was all about Doncic, who had his 30, almost had a triple double. I think 14 rebounds, 9 assists. But how many games is Steph Curry in the playoffs going to go for 20 points and 8 assists? Not many. So look, if he gets his regular 30, 35, they win that game. And the other thing for Dallas that I think is a bit of a worry going into Game 5 is the last quarter. I mean, they had the game dead to rights. It was junk time, but you really want to finish off as strong as you can, particularly when you've got to come back the way they have to come back. And to let the Warriors put up nearly 40 points in the fourth quarter and get back within 10, that's poor. And I don't think it bodes well for them in Game 5. So I fully expect that game to be over, that series to be over in the next game.
Well, I think we talked about the firepower that the Warriors had. They just have a lot more firepower than the Mavs have. I would go so far as to say Dallas had the best player, the way Doncic has been playing. I think he's a better player, at least this playoffs. I wouldn't say all up, but this playoffs, just to clarify, than someone like Steph Curry. Klay Thompson's not hit his stride, really, at least not in the last game. It sounds like a cliche. You cannot stop Steph Curry. You can only hope to contain Steph Curry. If they can contain Steph Curry to 20 to 30 points, it gets more interesting. We've seen, I think, them struggle, like in game 2, for example, when Golden State had that last quarter. Curry, he had 32 points. In the blowout in Game 1, Curry had 21 points, but he had 12 rebounds, so he was contributing there. In Game 3, he had 31 points. So Game 4 was by far his worst game, and that's the difference. And I'm sure there'll be some questions about the last quarter. I think they would rather have not been as relatively close as it ended up being, but that's what the game plan for Dallas has to revolve around. It's just, what can they do to get Steph Curry off the ball, and what can they do to give Luka Doncic the ball?
Yep.
It sounds deceptively simple. The NBA is not going to be that simple in terms of game plan and strategy. But at the end of the day, it's how many shots can they give him and how many shots can they prevent Steph Curry from having. That will be what gives the Mavs a chance in Game 5 if they can do that.
Let's move to the other series, which is heating up, and this is going the distance, this one. The Heat and the Celtics, 2-2 at the moment, and with Game 5 on pretty much as we speak right now, the Celtics pulled it back in Game 4 to 2-2, winning that game by 20 points. Look, for mine, in the Celtics' 2 wins, they've looked far more impressive than the Heat, but the Heat just find a way. We've been saying this all year. Maybe we've underestimated the Heat because, the Celtics, when they've won their games so far against the Heat, they've done it by 20-odd points in Games 2 and 4. But the Heat just find a way down the stretch when they're in a winning position to get the job done. And who knows? I think this series is going to 7.
It's a very odd series because it's 2-2. And, at the end of the day, 2-2, it's a close series. With the exception of Game 3, they've just not been very interesting games, have they? They've just been blowouts, and neither side's really had the advantage. The Heat would win one, then the Celtics would win one, and everyone would think, oh, well, okay, they've got the advantage. They've come out of Miami with a win, which is critical. But then Game 3, the Heat get the win back, and everyone's like, oh, well, the Heat have now had the advantage. They got that win back. They look the better team of the 3 games. It looks like it'll go to Miami. And then Game 4, it's 102 to 82. It's flip a coin and just go from there. So, 7 games sounds about right to me. At this rate, the Heat will win, and then the Celtics will win Game 6, and it'll just come down to Game 7.
The one thing that we got out of Game 4 is a couple of firsts in the NBA Finals. This is an extraordinary situation, this one, for the Heat. It's the first time in NBA playoffs history that not one player in the starting 5 has scored 10 points. And it's the first time in NBA Finals history that at least one of the starting 5 for a team hasn't played 30 minutes. And that's the situation that the Heat found themselves in, an extraordinary situation where their leading scorer came off the bench. I can't pronounce that, but he scored 23 points. They had a Martin off the bench, 12, Robinson off the bench, 14. I know we've said that they're an even side, but boy, oh boy, the highest scorer was Adebayo in the centre from the starting 5 with 9 points. Yeah,
it's not exactly the epitome of excellence from that starting 5 in Game 4. Oladipo, he's one of the best off the bench in the NBA. He is a multiple-time All-Star, but you don't win games when that happens. It just does not happen. They'll bounce back. They're too good not to bounce back. But yeah, it's a very not exactly a record you want to have in your resume. But there you go, just a gift for Boston, I would dare say. I think they would be very happy if it happened again. Probably won't, but interesting little tidbit to be had for sure.
All right. Well, that's where we'll leave it. We'll go series this time next week will be complete. We'll know who's in the NBA Finals and look forward to talking to you about it then, Jeremy. Enjoy the basketball over the weekend, mate.
No worries. Thank